There won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries.
With respect, are you overstating the reach and significance of this deal because you're a president who needs a result at a difficult time?
You know, it's one thing when any reporter builds up the much needed courage to call out Trump to his face over the lack of deals after Liberation Day, and 90 deals in 90 days was touted.
And so far, no deals have been announced, right? The grand hope, 90 deals in 90 days. That's at least what we were hoping for. Well, right now, we're just hoping for some big deals, and it's down to 83 days. And, well, the more this clock ticks down, the more trade and economic uncertainty will continue to tick higher.
But to hear it done so via a robust Scottish accent, well, I'm proud.
But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly.
United Kingdom, wonderful country, lovely people, love myself some fish and chips, don't mind their beer, but they're our 11th largest trading partner. They account for 3% of American trade. And if I took off all my shoes and socks and got 4 more people in the room, I'd be able to tell you that leaves 97% of American trade are absolutely up in the air.
Trump held a presser today to announce his historic trade deal with the UK, a deal that is so historic that it's, well, kind of the same as what was already in place under Biden, but also not really a deal yet. Kind of a deal. The concept of a deal is in place, right?
There won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries.
So we feel really good about the deal. You've heard the Prime Minister. He feels really good about the deal, right? And we started at 10% and we ended at 10%. And the market for America is better. And this is a perfect example of why Donald Trump produced Liberation Day. People don't understand he gets things done in a matter of time. This would have taken Jameson and I 3 years, maybe. And instead, we got it done in 45 days, certainly, because we work for Donald Trump. So
why do you think he's announcing this with the UK? What is the game plan here to suggest that this is much bigger deal than you say?
The president's a showman. He's going to tell you that there's all sorts of wonderful things about it. This is a country with a king and a queen, and they have beef eaters and all sorts of things.
Anyway, when it came time to field questions, Trump was asked to clarify a few things, right? Why did he announce a new nominee for the US Surgeon General who never finished her residency and is not a practicing physician to basically head up the job as America's top doctor?
He just announced a new nominee for the US Surgeon General who never finished her residency and is not a practicing physician. So can you explain why you picked her to be America's top doctor?
Because Bobby thought she was fantastic. She's she's a brilliant woman who went through Stanford, and as I understand it, she basically wanted to be an academic as opposed to a surgeon. I think she graduated first in her class at Stanford, and Bobby really thought she was great. I don't know her. I listened to the recommendation of Bobby. I met her yesterday and once before. She's a very outstanding person, a great academic, actually. So I think she'll be great.
Following up that zinger of an answer, he was asked about the threat of empty ports across the country as the turmoil from his trade war with China takes effect.
This week, our business on the import side is down 35% compared to the same time last year. These ships coming in have the tariff applied first time as they arrive from Asia. This is where we started to see a big drop off in cargo, because if you're buying a product out of China today, it's 2.5 times more expensive than it was just last month.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned, we're seeing as a result, the ports here in the U.S., the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their jobs.
That means we lose less money. You know, when I see that means we lose less money. Look, China was making over $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion, in my opinion. You know, different numbers from 500 billion to $1 trillion or $1 trillion. I think it was 1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say it slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we're going to make it so they can.
And then finally, it was over to this moment where a Scottish reporter who will likely never be invited back to the Oval Office, but definitely left his mark, asked Trump point blank if he was overstating the reach and significance of this deal because, quote, "You're a president who needs a result at a difficult time." Good on you, mate.
There's much more work still to do. With respect, are you overstating the reach and significance of this deal because you're a president who needs a result at a difficult time?
I think that it's a great deal for both parties. It's for us. We're opened up. I didn't know how closed it was. Quite closed, the market, as you know, the UK, and it opens up a tremendous market for us, and it works out very well, and a lot of assets. You see the chart, and those are tremendous assets. But we've been trying, and when you say why us, meaning your country, we've been trying for years, and they've been trying for years to make a deal, including when I was in the, first term. It would always be people talking, but they weren't getting it done. But for 25 years before that, they were trying always to make a deal, a very significant deal. I actually, until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize this is a very conclusive deal, but we think we can grow it even from that. But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly. This is a maxed out deal that we're going to make bigger, and we make it bigger through growth. But we have tremendous assets involved. I was surprised to see how big your country is in trade, actually. One of the biggest in technology and so many other things. It's agriculture. I really didn't know. It's depending on your definition, it's from 4 to 5 to 6. That's pretty big in the world.
And of course, he's desperate for a win, considering he's done nothing but lose since somehow winning again. Hence why they're trumpeting this framework of a deal as this monumental moment, because Americans are turning on him in droves over his handling of the economy.
I do. I do a lot. The American public knows exactly what's going on, and that's why they're soundly rejecting this administration. He has the lowest approval rating of any president of the last 70 years for the first 100 days. His stock market for the first 100 days is the lowest since Nixon. Unprecedented low foreign policy approval rating and economic approval rating. The American public is smart enough to know that their shelves, if they're not already empty, are going to be empty because of tariffs. 69% say he's not focused enough on lowering prices. 62% focus too much on tariffs. 72% think his policies will cause a recession. 64% disapprove of how he's handling inflation. He continues to beat a drum that is making the absolute worst economic music I have ever heard in my entire life. And yes,
all right. So obviously this is just moments after we learned that this GDP number came out. It did show a drop in growth, a contraction in the economy, first that we have seen in years, in fact. And it's a sharp reversal from the 2.4% growth we saw in the fourth quarter. So obviously this is a White House that is stepping out to defend its policies on the economy in a moment where we're waiting to see if the first deal comes through on tariffs.
Yeah, we were looking at this. Quarter 4 was 2.4% growth. Quarter 3 was 3.1. Quarter 2 was 3.0. And now we're at negative 0.3%.
And he's not exactly helping himself either, right? When the man who reclines on a gold-coated couch is telling kids that you don't need all those dolls, do you?
Said this week, got a lot of attention. You were at your cabinet meeting. You said, quote, I'm going to quote what you said, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30.
Yeah.
And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
Sharp contrast from the man who campaigned on your prices will come down day one. And while we're on the subject of dolls, does he really think that Mattel is a country? Seriously.
Mattel, I don't know, I'm not so sure. They also said, they're the only country I've heard, they said, well, we're going to go counter. We're going to try going someplace else. That's okay. Let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell one toy in the United States, and that's their biggest market. I heard that. I mean, I watched this guy talking about how I'm going to go counter. I said, well, I wouldn't want to have him as an executive too long.
Listen, I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer over any deals that he may or may have negotiated the framework on. I'm here to point out that it wasn't the media who said 90 deals in 90 days, but this administration. So it's our job in the media and the job of reporters in the Oval Office to ask questions like this. Are you just blowing smoke to deflect from the fire raging inside the White House?
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.